All right, so on the left, I have my VS Code, and on the right, I have my browser. So let's get started. We're going to run the command npx, and here we'll do create next app at latest. And let's run that. Yes, it's going to ask us, what do you want to name our project? I will just call it weather app. And for this one, I will not be using TypeScript. ESLint, yes. Tailwind, yes. Source, yep. App router, sure. And sure, why not? Rest is all default. Cool, now that's done, we're just gonna go into our weather app, and then we'll just open it. So code. Cool, now that I have the weather open, we gotta do a few more things. So I wanna install a couple packages right away. So for that, I'm gonna use PNPM, but you could just use NPM. So I will do install, and I will be downloading Axios, moment dash time zone, as well as React icons. Cool, now that we have our packages installed, I'm going to create our .env. So here you can go and click the create file, and then I'll do a .env.local. All right, and here we're going to have to get our next public API key for the weather API. So I'm going to do that here. Let's get started. Next public weather API key. And then here you guys can go log in and get your keys. So go ahead and sign up in OpenWeather. It's a free API. Sign up and get a new API key. I already did that and I have my key, so I'm going to paste it here and I'll save it and I'll close it out. Cool, so I have my API key all set in .env.local, and now we're ready for the next step. All right, so next thing I want to do is I want to create some folders. So in the source and app, we're going to create a new directory here. So here we're going to call it components, and we'll need a few more. So the second one will be utils for our utility functions. Lastly, oops, not there, in app. And the third one is styles for any extra styles we create. All right, now, so I just want to check out our layout.js. And we don't need all this, so I'm going to get rid of a bunch of stuff. I'm going to get rid of these fonts. Oops. And then here for our metadata, I'll just update this. So we can call it weather app. And then here I'll just do something like a modern weather application built with Nextjs. Great. And then here I'm going to delete the class that we have for now. So it'll just be the children. Perfect. Now I'm just going to go to globals and check this out. So here you can see a couple of styling already made. And now I'm just going to make a couple of edits here. So I'm going to get rid of the root colors right now. And then I'm going to add a couple new ones. Foreground, RGB. You're going to set that to 255, 255, and 255. Background, start, RGB, 15, 15, 15. And lastly, background dash end RGB. You're going to set this to same thing, 15, 15, 15. All right, next I'm going to get rid of these extra ones right here. Cool, and in the body, I'm going to make a couple of changes. So we have color, I'm going to set that to, so in the body, I'm actually just going to delete this. I'm going to make it empty. And then here I will just change it to color is equal to RGB. And then the variable, we're going to do foreground. Thank you, TypeScript. Not TypeScript, thank you, autocomplete. And then in the background, we're going to do something else. We're going to do a linear gradient. Let's open that up. So we're going to do to bottom. And then we'll do the same thing, RGB, variable, background start, comma, RGB, whoops, variable, dash dash, background end. And I believe you have to close it out, so I'll do that here. We'll also give it a min height of 100%. 100 view width. All right, so our globals are set. Now we're pretty much done with this. We don't have to touch this for a while. Cool, so now to run the app, I'm gonna do PNPM run dev, but you guys can just run npm run dev if you don't have or use PNPM. All right, so now that my server is running, let's visit localhost, see if it's working. Perfect, we have our Next.js boilerplate loaded up. All right, so next up, we're gonna set up Weather API service. So for that, we'll need to go to utils, create a new file, call that Weather API. And this is just gonna help us make everything clean and simple for us to work with the Weather API. All right, so let's get started. First things first, import Axios so we can actually make calls. And then here we'll get the API key is equal to process.env dot, it's no autocomplete. I'm gonna have to type this out. All right, I forgot the equal sign. Okay, lastly, we can do the base URL, which is going to be https://api.openweathermap.org/data, and we are using the 2.5. Cool, now that's done, let's create our Weather API object. Const Weather API. So this will hold a bunch of functions that we're gonna be able to call easily. So first thing first, we're gonna just leave a comment here so it's clear. We're gonna get the current weather for a city. Oops. And then in the second function, we can do a get the 5-day forecast for a city. And then the third function, we're gonna get weather for multiple cities. All right. So while we're at it, let's just export it so we don't forget later. Export default weather API. Cool. So now in the Weather API, let's get started. All right, so for now, get weather for a city. So we're gonna call it just get current weather. Get current weather. This is gonna be async function. And then here it's gonna take in the name of the city. Whoops. Let's create the error function. Cool, so we're gonna wrap this in a try catch. So in case it errors out, we can gracefully handle that. So const response is equal to await Axios dot get. So this is going to be the base URL, and then we're going to do the /weather endpoint. Cool. Next thing is I just want to create the catch. So this way, this way the linter stops yelling at us. All right, and the catch is just pretty much we're just going to throw it out. So throw a new error. We're going to do error dot response dot data if it does have it, and then the message. Cool. If that doesn't work, we're just going to say failed to fetch weather data. Perfect. One thing I forgot to do is we need to pass in params. So let me just open that up here. So the second get argument can take those params, and we're going to pass that in as an object. So we're going to do params, and then we're going to open up the object for params. Q, meaning the query, it's going to be city. The units, it's going to be Perio. And then here for the app ID, it's going to be the API key. Cool, so now we're done with that. Cool, now let's move on to the next function. This is going to be get forecast. This will also be async. And this will also take a city. All right, so let's open that up. So same thing as above, we're going to open up the try catch. This is also going to be a response. We're going to await it, Axios dot get. Same thing here, the base URL. And this will be the /forecast endpoint. So let's create the second argument. So let's pass in params. Same thing as above. We're going to pass in the city. Unit, it's units. It's going to be the same thing, Imperial. And also the app ID. Cool, so I'm actually just going to copy the second part of the catch here. Now I just need to figure out where it goes. I think it's here. All right, it looks good. So I just want to update this one little part so it's not the same error. Failed to fetch forecast data. Perfect. All right, so it's mainly the same. So I'm going to copy that here in the third function, but I'm going to update a few things. So let's do get. This one is the multiple cities. So multiple cities weather. And instead of city, let's just rename it to cities. And let's rename this to cities. So we're going to do something slightly different here, actually. Let's go back here. So it's going to actually be a bunch of promises. All right, so now the way we're going to do this is we're going to change. So now we're going to change this to cities, and we have to map over it. Cities dot map. For every city, we got to do something. And that something is we're going to make the Axios call. And I believe it's going to close out here. All right, so we have a promise. Now we need to actually call it. So we're going to add this to the responses, right? And then now we're going to await it. So we're going to create the promise, promise.all. And this is where all the promises are. So it's going to loop through all the cities, the array of cities that we send it. And then it's going to get, for each one, the forecast. And we'll have it saved in responses here. All right, so lastly, we just need to return the responses dot map response, and then the response data. Perfect. One thing I realized is I actually forgot to return it here up top. So let me just add the return statements here. Return response dot data. So I'm just going to copy that and bring it over here. Response dot data. Cool. So now all three of the functions are returning something at the end. And lastly is, oh yeah, so the error message here. Let's change that to failed to fetch cities weather data. Cool, so we're pretty much done with the weather API. All right, now next we're going to create one more utils. This one is going to be the temperature. If I can spell it right, TEMPERATURE. We're going to create two functions here. So we're going to first, let's export const, convert temperature. So we're going to do temp and then unit. So if unit is equal to C, meaning Celsius, then we're going to do return the temp minus the 32 degrees times 5. And then at the end, we'll divide it by 9. Whoops. Cool, so that's for Celsius. Otherwise, we're just going to return the temp. The second method is going to be export const. This will be formatting the temperature. Format temperature, TMPE. This would also take the temp and then the unit. Let's open that up. So this one is just going to return a string here. So let's do a math.round. Round, and then we'll pass in the temp and also the unit here. And I've Googled the degree character, so I've already copied it and I'm going to paste it here. So for this little character, you guys can Google it and just copy and paste it. Perfect. So now both of these are exported. We're pretty much done with this file as well. All right, so I did say this was the last file, but we have one more file to go. So this will be, we can create a custom hook here, use weather. Cool, so to start our custom hooks, we're gonna need a couple things. First, let's import use state as well as use effect. Cool. Next thing we want to import is our weather API. All right, so that is about it for now. And let's open it, export const, use weather. This will have a initial location, which we're going to just set it to New York. All right, and now let's open up the function here. I'm going to write a bunch of state now. So let's start off with the weather itself. And we'll also get the set weather. Use state. We're going to set it to null in the beginning. Next up, we're going to do highlights. Set highlights. So just to save time, I'm going to skip ahead, and in a few seconds, you'll see all the states. I have created a bunch of states now that we will need for this. We will see everything in action soon. First of all, processing highlights. So this is going to take the weather data, and it's going to do a bunch of things inside. So we're going to do a little bit of destruction. We're going to grab the wind, main, and visibility, as well as the SYS from weather data. So the reason I'm getting these and I know what to get is because I've already looked at the API. So if you guys want to study the API, you guys can go ahead and do that first. All right, so now once we get that, we're going to do a little bit of formatting and return it, return the data that we need. So we can grab the wind, and from this, we're going to do wind.speed. We're going to do humidity. This will be inside the main, so main.humidity. And then we're going to get the UV, so we'll just set that to 0. Because I don't think it does give UV at the moment. Next up, we'll do visibility itself. So this will be visibility divided by 1000 dot to fixed. And then we'll get the sunrise. So we're going to create a new date. We're going to pass in the sys dot sunrise property, multiply that by 1000. Then we'll convert it to locale time string, which is going to do hour. This is going to be 2-digit. And then the minute is going to also be 2 digits. Cool, so now we have sunset, sunrise. We're going to do the same thing for sunset. All right, sunrise. Let's create this to updates to sunset. All right, so we're pretty much done with process highlights for now. I'm going to close that out. Next, we're going to work on is called fetch weather data. So this will be the async function. This will not need any arguments. So let's open up the try, and we're going to do a couple of things. So first, we're going to reset the error. So set error is null. We're going to set the loading. Whoops, not cities. We're going to set the loading. So that here we'll do previous is equal to dot 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 previous weather true. So just to recap here, in loading we have a couple of things that we can set to loading: the weather, the forecast, and cities. So for this fetch weather, we just want the weather to be loading true. Everything else can remain the same. All right, so now we can actually make the fetch request and actually get the response for the weather data. So const weather data is equal to await. We're going to use our handy weather API, and then we can get the current weather. So this will be for the location we have up here in the state. Cool, and then once we get that, we're going to set the weather to weather data. We'll also get the highlights. We can do process highlights, and we'll pass in weather data as well. All right, so now let's just create the catch. So catch is, we're going to set that to set error, and then we'll pass in the error.message. We'll also console log the error. So something like error fetching weather. Whoops. Alright, so we have that, and then we just need finally, because at the end we do want to set the loading to be false. So same thing, previous, it's going to be ... previous, and then we'll set the weather to be false. Great, so we've just created a fetch weather data inside of our use weather hook. Cool, we have our second method done. Let's create the other one. So now let's create fetch forecast data. This is also going to be async. All right, so similar to above, try, we're going to set the loading first. This time it's going to be not for weather, it's going to be for forecast. So ... previous forecast, you're going to set that to true. All right, so now next up we're going to do the forecast data, which will be the API call we make. So weather API dot get forecast. We're going to get it for the location. Cool, now that we have the forecast data, we're going to get the daily forecast. So we're just going to do const daily forecasts. Cool, so now to get the daily forecast, we're going to do forecast data. And then from there, we will get the list, and then we'll filter out the 5 days. So for this, we're going to do item, index. And then for index, we're going to do modulo. Oops, modulo, where's the modulo? Modulo 8. Now that we have that, we're going to have to slice it. So slicing the first 5. Cool, now that we have daily forecast, we're going to just set the forecast to daily forecast. All right, we're pretty much done with the try. So now let's just close this out with the catch. So let's set the error. So we're going to set error here. If there is an error, error.message. Cool, and we'll also do a console.error. So we'll just do like error fetching forecast. And we'll just send the error. Cool, so we need a finally here, just so we can set the loading to false. Previous. Set the previous, and then we'll do a forecast. Set that to false. All right, so we have the third method down. We have one more to go. Cool, the fourth one is going to be fetch cities weather data. This will be again async. All right, so we'll create the try catch again. So first up, set loading. Previous, we're just going to do the similar thing as above. Previous. This time around, we're going to do cities true. All right, I'm just going to create the catch first. Let's just go ahead and copy it because it's going to be pretty much the same. All right, let's close that out. And then this is not forecast. It's going to be cities weather. And then for this one, it's going to be cities. All right, so now going back to try. After we set the loading, we're going to actually have to get the data. Weather data is equal to await. So we're going to use our weather API again. Get multiple cities weather, and then we'll pass in cities. Cool, so with this, we don't have to do much. We're just going to set the cities to whatever the weather data we get. All right, so now that's pretty much our fourth function. So now that's pretty much our 4 functions that we need. So now we just have to set up the use effect so we can trigger, so we know when to trigger what changes. All right, so we're going to do fetch weather data. Fetch weather data, and we'll also do a fetch forecast data. And we will do this if the location changes. Right, that makes sense. So if the location changes, we're going to have to refetch the weather data as well as the forecast data for that location. Cool, now the second use effect, it's going to be something similar, but for the other two methods. So this will be, so this, it's going to be if the cities update. All right, so we're done with that second use effect. Let's just return everything. So we're going to do a bunch of weather, highlights, location, set location. These do not have to be in order, but I'm just doing it in order. Cities, weather, whoops, set cities weather, the temperature unit, and then the set temperature unit, loading, and finally the error. All right, that took a little bit of time, but our custom use weather hook is done. So it's going to make our job so much simpler now with actually building out the app. Cool, now just to recap, we've created a use weather API. This is going to handle all the API calls to open weather map. And we have three main functions: getting the current weather based on the city, getting the forecast, the 5-day forecast based on the city, and then lastly, we can get the multiple cities weather. Cool, and then the other utility file we have is the temperature file. It's either going to convert a temperature from either Fahrenheit or Celsius. The second method we have is format temperature, so it's going to format it nicely for us and give us the nice little degree symbol as well as the unit. And then lastly, we have our custom hook right here, use weather hook. Basically, this is going to manage our state. It's going to make the necessary API calls depending on if the location or the cities changes, and everything's centralized, including the loading and the error states. Cool, we've written a lot of code here, so you might be wondering, is this even going to work? So why not test it out? For that, we're going to just close this out, and we'll just go to our page here. We don't need any of this. So I've just cleared out the home component here, and first thing we need to do is turn it into a client component. So use client, and we also need to grab the use weather hook so we can actually test it. So let's grab the current weather, the loading, and the error, all from our handy use weather hook. Cool, from there we're going to try out the different edge cases. So if loading.weather, then we will just show something like loading. All right, so now next, if there's an error, we're going to return, you guessed it, error, and we can actually pass in the error, so we'll just pass that in here. If there is no weather at all, then we're just going to return null. All right, so those are pretty much the three edge cases that we can test out. If there is data, then we'll actually render it. So let's just create a simple div here, and I'm going to create a little bit of a styling here, so just padding 4. Next up, we're going to create the h1. This will be the weather name. Let's try that out. Comma, the weather country. So it's weather.sys country. Let's just add some styling here as well. So text to XO. We'll also make this bold. Cool. Below that, we're going to create a P tag. So we're going to give it styling as well. Text large. So this will be the weather.main.temp. And then I'll need the symbol for the temperature. So I'm just going to go here and copy and paste it for now. Close that out. Back to page. All right, we have that. So just set it to F Fahrenheit for now. That is our default. So now we also get the weather dot weather at the first index, and then we'll just get the description. Cool. I'm going to save it, and then we'll refresh the page. All right, so it looks like we actually got an error here. So let me just zoom in first. And let's go check the inspect, see what the issue could be. Okay, so let's just go to network, refresh. Looks like there are some queries that's giving us 200, but then there is this one, which seems like quite a long query for no reason. Okay, so let's see where that could be. Let's just check out console, because I know we had actually console log a couple things. So let's start from the top. Error fetching weather. So this is in the use weather at line 47. Let me zoom in so you guys can see it better. Okay, so use weather, line 47. So let's go to use weather here and then find out line 47. So it's triggering this catch block, meaning it's something with this one. Okay, so let's do a quick scan. We're just setting the error. We're loading, setting weather true. And then we're just getting weather API.current weather to get the weather data. And that seems correct so far. So maybe it's in here. It does say that it's in, all right, here's the type error. So toLocale time string is not in function. So error fetching weather somewhere here. toLocale. Is there a toLocale here somewhere? This is where we do toLocale time string. So it's something with this one. So looking at it new, it should just be date. So I think this is the issue. It's a data transfer, but this should have just been new date, because that's what we're all trying to get. I don't know what happened. Maybe in autocomplete, it must have done data transfer, but I think that's the issue. So I'm just going to save it and let's just do a reload, see what happens. Okay, so we get another failure. Let's see what this could be. Access to HTML request. So again, here, that's another error maybe. Let's scroll down. Failed. Now it's saying line 76. So let's go check that out. Now it's the city's weather data. Failed async fetch weather data. So that's this. Get multiple cities weather. So let's check out get multiple cities weather. Maybe we made some sort of error here. So we are looking at the city's weather forecast. Okay, so we are getting. Oh, okay. So this is the forecast, but we also have forecast here. So I think this is one issue. We have the wrong endpoint. So that's probably one issue there. Let's just try reloading, see if that. Okay, so for a second we saw something here. So we actually saw data coming in. Now it's saying nothing to geocode. So I think that solved it. So now this is a different issue. It's in 47. Nothing to geocode, fetching cities weather. So let's go back here. Fetch cities weather data. Something with geocode. Does it tell us where? Line 76. Yep, it's here. So it's somewhere here. It has to be here, maybe. All right, so just to test it out, I'm going to do some comments here. So let's just take out the cities. Okay, so it's definitely with the fetch cities weather data. So it has to be with this one. Thought we just fixed one of the issues with this one, which is endpoint. What else could it be? So one thing is we have location, but then we're fetching something else here. So something is going wrong here. I think we actually made the right calls, but here we're making forecast. You can see the Q, it should be just equal to whatever the city is. So for some reason, this is doing a bunch of different things here. Why don't we just put a console log and see what the issue could be? So let's just console log the cities here. So we'll just say like cities. Okay, I'm gonna just close it out, do a hard refresh. All right, so we do have the cities initially as London and Tokyo, and then the cities updates to. Oh, okay, I think this might be the issue. The cities actually updates to the data of the weather. So I think that's the issue here. Okay, so now where could that be happening? Okay, so I think I see the issue here. So we're setting the cities. So by mistake, we're actually resetting the cities instead of updating the cities what we have here. Okay, so I think the issue is that here we're doing set cities of the weather data, but remember we have cities over here and then we have cities weather up here. So I'm just gonna move it up there actually, so it's more clear. So we actually have the cities, so London, Tokyo, and then this should not have updated with the weather data like it did. So we made the mistake. We should have updated cities weather. Okay, so I think that's the issue here. Let's just update that. I'm gonna save it and boom. So I think, yep, that was the issue. Perfect. So I'm just gonna go here and take out the console log. So since we don't need it anymore. Cool. And if I just clean that out and refresh, everything should work. Nice. Perfect. Let's close out the network tab. We have New York. We have Fahrenheit degree of New York and a description of the weather. Cool. Now, so that was our test. If we can look back, this was just a test that we did and we are getting data. Cool. Next, we're actually going to build out some of the other components that we'll need, such as the weather card, the forecast card, and even the search component. So now back in components, we're going to create a new file. We're going to call this SearchBar. SearchBar. All right, now in the search bar, this is also going to be a client component. So I'm just going to go ahead and start with the use client. And this will need a couple of things. So first, let's do import React, use state from React. Okay, next we're going to need a icon. So we can do font awesome search icon. I believe that's the name of that. So we'll do React icons / font awesome. Cool. Now let's build out the function here, search bar function. All right. So now I know that we're going to pass on a couple of props. So for now, I think it's just set location. So let's just do that. Set location. So this search bar is going to take a set location, which once the user searches something and they press enter, it's going to trigger set location to do a refetch for the location. All right, so now we're going to do some local states, search term. Since we're going to control the form locally here, set search term, and then we'll do use state. So initially there will be no search, so empty string. We'll also put a loading state, so is loading, as well as set is loading. Whoops. This will also be a state. Initially it will be false. Next, we're going to create the handle submit function. So let's just do const handle submit, which is going to be a async function. This will take in an event. And in there, first we have to prevent default, so the form does not trigger, and do a page refresh. I don't like how TypeScript is not giving us the autocomplete here, but that's fine. So if there is no search term after we trim it, then we can just return. Right? We don't want to make a search if there is nothing to search for. Cool. So otherwise, we're going to do set is loading to true. That means we actually have something to search for, hopefully. And just to be safe, we'll do a try catch. So try, and then we'll await for the set location. And we'll pass in search term dot trim. Whoops. Then we'll do set search term to empty string so we can reset the search bar. And then we'll just add a finally here, set is loading to false after it's done. Now that we have our handle submit, I'm just going to close it out for now. So we'll actually build out the component now. We're going to do a return. It's going to be a form. And this is going to take a couple of props. So first things first, on submit, we're just going to pass in handle submit. And then for styling, we'll do class name. And then the role of this will just be search. Perfect. So let's add a label. This will be HTML for our city search. Then we'll add a little bit of class here, so just SR only, meaning it's only for screen readers. So search for a city, and then we'll build out the input. So this will take in a couple of props. Let me just get that opened up. ID is going to be 1. So same thing as above, city search, so it knows which one it's mapped to. Type will just be a text. Then we'll have the value, which is going to be the controlled search term. After that, we'll have the on change. So every time the user types something on change, we're going to do something, which is we will set the search term to e.target.value. All right, so that is, we need a few more things actually. So placeholder, let's just put something like search for a city. All right, so now we're just going to end it with some class here. So let's start with the width. It's me width 64. Then we'll have a vertical padding of 2, padding left of 4, padding right of 10. We'll make it rounded. So ROUNDED dash large. We'll give it a color, a background color. I will be doing 1E, 1E, 1E. Make the text white. We'll put a little bit of border on it. So border gray. 700 is what I'm going with. Then after that, if on focus, we'll do focus. This will have a outline of none. And also on focus, we'll put some sort of a ring. And the last thing we'll need to put is the color of it. So it'll be ring dash blue dash 500. All right, I think that's pretty much it that we will need for this. Okay, let me just clean that up. Last thing we want to do is put the button. So let's create the button. Type will be submit. And let's give it some class. So absolute right 3, top 1/2, transform, translate y to 1/2, text gray. Well, let's do 400. And then on hover, we'll put the text to about 300. And lastly, if it's disabled, we'll just do a opacity of 50. Cool. Now, so if it's disabled, same thing. It's based on if it's loading or not. And then just for accessibility reasons, we'll put an ARIA label here. And we'll just call it search. Cool, let's close it out. And here, last thing we need to do is we need to add our icon. So our F8 search icon, this class name, it will be determined based on if it's loading. So if it's loading, then we want to do like some sort of a spin animation. So we'll do animate dash spin. Otherwise, we'll just do nothing. And that's pretty much it. Let's close that out. So we have our search component all ready. Oh, last thing I almost forgot, we need to export it. Export default search bar. Perfect, so our search bar is complete. All right, so before we actually see it and put it in the page, I'm going to create 2 more components. So the next component is going to be the temperature toggle. This one will be a quick one. TemperatureToggle. Temperature toggle. I can spell. So this one's be basically, if you click it, it's going to toggle between Fahrenheit or Celsius. All right, so just do import React. This one will not have any state, so we don't need to turn it into a client component. So first up, I'm just going to create a temperature button here. TemperatureToggle. And then this will take a unit, current unit, as well as on click. Cool, let's open that up. And now this will just be starting off with a button. Let's close that out for now. But we'll need to pass in a couple of things here. First things first is on click. So on click, we just want to run on click that we got from up top in the props, and then we'll pass the unit. Cool. After that, we're going to do aria pressed. Depends on if current unit is equal to unit. And then we'll do aria dash label. We're going to turn it to a switch to whatever unit we're looking to switch into. All right, so that's there. And I'm just going to get the symbol again, the Fahrenheit symbol here. So let's copy that. Perfect. Okay, so now inside here, I'm just going to do the same degree, and then we're going to pass in the unit. All right, so our temperature button is complete. Let's actually create the temperature toggle component now. So temperature toggle, this is going to take in similar things. So we'll take a unit and then on toggle, which is going to be looking like that. Okay, so then we're just going to return. First up is a div. So this will have, let's just add some, let me just close it out. And now we're going to pass in some styling. So let's do flex items center. We'll do a background color of hashtag 36, 36, 36. And then we'll make it rounded, about not 2XO, but just a large, and very little padding. So row, just to give it a row, we'll do a radio group. And then for accessibility, we'll do aria label. We will call it temperature, PERA temperature unit. Perfect. So now we're going to have two temperature buttons that we just created up top. So temperature button. All right. So now let's just close it out. Now we're passing them some props. So first up, it's going to be unit of Fahrenheit. Second prop is going to be current unit, which is just a unit. Then we have on click, which will be on toggle. Cool. So now I'm just going to copy it and just change one little thing here. So just to Celsius. Perfect. Last thing we do is just export. We're going to export default temperature toggle. All right, our toggle is complete. So now we can work on the third component. This one is be a little bit more meatier. So it's going to be the WeatherCard. That's going to have a bunch of our UI there. So let's get started. I'm going to call it WeatherCard.js. Cool, let's start with the imports. So first up, import React. Next, we're going to import a couple of icons. So FA map marker alternate is one of them. The other one is FA wind and FA tint as well. All right, so next thing we need to import is moment for our time formatting. So from moment time zone. Then we're going to get our helper functions. So convert temperature as well as the format temperature. Cool. Now, lastly, we're going to import the temperature toggle button that we just created earlier. So I'm going to create the subcomponents for this in this file, just like the temperature toggle. So first thing we need is the location header. So we'll do name and country. All right, let's open that up. Then this will just be a div of class name, and we'll make it flex with the items being centered with some padding all around. And it'll be rounded with a background color of 36, 36, 36. Okay, so now in there we'll need to put the FA map marker. Give it some styling as well. Text small, medium, text MR-2, text gray of 300. Then here we'll have the H2, so class name. It'll be text small again, medium, text large. font normal. And here we'll just have the name, name, comma, country. All right, so our location header is done. Next up, it's the date display. This will just take in date as the prop. So let's get the div going, and the styling on this will be just text left, margin bottom 4. Cool, so we're gonna pass in a h3 on this one. So let's do class name. This will be medium text 3XL, text of large, font semi-bold. Did I make, oh, I put a space here. Okay, and then we'll do date.format. I spelled it wrong here, data, date. So we'll do date, and then we'll do date.format into 4Ds. All right, so now I'm just gonna copy and paste it. It's gonna be very similar to above. So this one is gonna be slightly smaller. And we will take out the font bolding here. Give it a little bit of margin, text, gray 300. And instead of that, we're gonna do date.format. We'll format it in this way now. Cool, our date display is done. Next up, weather icon. So this is going to take in the icon and the description. So let's open up a div here. Then we'll pass in the image. For the props, we're going to put the source, which is going to equal to HTTPS. And this will be openweathermap.org/image/WN. And then we'll do pass in the name of the icon. Increase the resolution by 2 times, so .png. What else we need? We need the alt. This will just be the description. I think we made a mistake here. What did we do wrong here? Oh, forgot the arrow. And one thing that we need now is the class name. So width is 24, height 24, medium. We'll make it a width of 36. And then we'll make the height same thing, 36, margin bottom of 4. This is just Nextjs yelling us about it, but that's fine. It's not a big issue. So we're done with weather icon. Just gonna close that out, close this out, and this out as well. All right, 3 down, 2 more components to go before we make the main component. So let's do. So the next one is gonna be the weather details. So weather details, and here we're gonna do pass in a couple of props. So it'll have the wind, the humidity, the pressure, and the visibility. All right, let's open this up. Let's create our div. Let's do a little bit of styling on this. So class name, it will be a grid. The grid columns of 2 with a gap of 4 and margin top. All right, so that's the container. Next one, we're gonna have smaller divs around it. So I'm just gonna create the components inside first. This will have a FA wind. So we'll do a class name and it'll just be text large. This is a self-closing tag. And then we'll put the span, which will just be the text wind, which will be in m/s, meaning meters per second. All right, so now I forgot to add the class name here, but let's add the class name on this. It will be flex items center gap of 2 text gray 300. Okay, I'm gonna paste it a couple of times here because we're just gonna repeat it. We're gonna make slight changes. Basically, on the wind, it will be the humidity here, which it will be on percent-wise. Third thing will be the pressure. So actually, there's no icon for this. So it'll be pressure, which will not be in meters per second, but in HPA. I forgot we need to add a span here. We'll just call it of pressure. All right, so that's done. And the last thing is going to be the visibility. So it's going to get rid of this and put visibility. This will be in visibility. Divide that by 1,000. 2 fixed. Fix it to just 1. Close that up. This will be in kilometers. So km. All right, so that's pretty much our weather details. Let's close that out. Cool, last but not least, we're going to create the temperature display. So let's do const temperature display. This will have a temp feels like description as well as the unit. We'll open that up. All right, let's get started with the div here. This is the outer div. Put a class name of text center. Here we're going to add the formatted temperature. So format temperature. This will take in 2 arguments, the temperature and then the unit. Cool. We'll also add some class here. Medium text 6XL, text 4XL, text of right, and then font of bold. And then I'm going to copy this. We'll have something similar for the second one. Small changes we're going to make is get rid of the medium text and just do text 2XL, text right, and we'll do text of gray 200. So format temperature, but we're going to do feels like. All right, so now let's get the other div going. This is just going to be the description. So pretty much like how we had free clouds here. It's going to be like that. Okay, so now we'll do class name. This will have medium text to XL, normal text of XL. And then we'll capitalize it. So like few clouds is all lowercase, so we'll do capital F and then capital C. Margin. Lastly, text right. Cool, that's done. Let's add the second div. Class name of margin top 2, text right, text gray 200. So here we're just going to add a little bit of text. So it feels like format temperature feels like unit. And one thing I forgot here is a slash. So let's go ahead and put that. Perfect. So temperature display is done. That was our last helper component we needed. Now we can actually build out the WeatherCard component. So let's do that. WeatherCard. We'll pass in a couple of props here. Weather, the unit, and then on toggle unit. All right, so now if there is no weather, we'll just return null. So now from the weather, we're going to get, do a little bit of destructuring. So const is equal to weather. We're going to get a bunch of things like main, and then we'll actually get something else called weather here. We'll rename that to weather data, get the name, the SYS, time zone, wind, and visibility. All right, so now after that, we need to get the weather icon. So const weather icon is equal to weather data first index And if it does have it, we'll get the icon. Cool. Let's get the weather description now. Again, from weather data, first index, same thing, description. Cool, now let's get the time zone. So time zone name, it's gonna equal to, we're gonna use moment for this, tz.guess. Const date is gonna be moment. We're gonna call moment to time zone, and then we'll put the time zone name. All right, after that, let's get the temperature. So const temperature is equal to the converted temperature of the main.temp and the unit. Lastly, we'll get the feels like, which is going to be the same thing, converted temperature, main.feels, feels like, passing of the unit. Perfect, so we have most of that done. Now, what's remaining is just building out the component, the UI part. So let's do const div, class name, rounded, make it extra large, padding of 6, flex 1, shadow large, background color of hashtag 1E, 1E, 1E. Then we'll do text white. Whoops. So now we'll just close that out. Perfect. Here we're going to create another div, and just to set this up, we're going to add the location header, which takes in a couple props. So the name, and then the country, which is going to be the sys.country. And let's close this out. So here next to it, we're going to put the temperature toggle, which is going to take in the unit of unit. And then on toggle, it's just going to be on toggle unit. All right, so the first part is done, and we do need to add some styling here. So let's go ahead and do that. This is going to be flex, justify about, not center, we're going to space it out, so between, but we will do item center, margin bottom of 4. Cool, now that's done, we're going to add the date display. So we're going to display the date here, date display. This just takes in the date property, or prop, I should say. All right, so now that's done. Let's build out the other section. So let's do div. Let's give it some styling. Flex, justify center, item center. And we're going to pass in the weather icon here, which will be the icon, depending on the variable weather icon, as well as the description, which is just description. Oh wait, I think we call it weather description here. And I noticed I have a typo here, so let me fix that. All right, I think that should work. Cool, so after that, we're gonna put the temperature display. So this is gonna take a couple of props. Let me open that up. So first thing first, temp is just equal to temp. Next up, feels like, it's gonna be feels like. Third, the description, which is the weather description. Last, we're gonna pass in the unit, which is just unit. Cool, we're almost there. We just need the last piece of the puzzle, which is going to be the weather details. All right, let's open this up too. And this will take in the wind, which is going to be wind.speed. We'll also pass in humidity, which is main.humidity. Then we'll pass in the pressure, which is main.pressure. And lastly, the visibility, which is just visibility. Cool, so we have our weather card built out. Only thing we need to do now, since we see that it's not solid yellow, is just export it. So export default weather card. Perfect. All right, so now we're actually going to build out the UI in the page. So let's move on to page. And then in the page, I'm actually going to delete these for now. So we're going to rebuild all that. So I'm actually going to delete these if checks as well. All right, so now in the use weather, we're going to have to get a couple more things. So let's get the location, the set location. Then we have temperature unit, as well as set temperature unit. And I just need a comma there. All right, yep, I think that should be good enough for now. So now let's actually build out the UI. I'm going to save it, and there's nothing here now, so cool. We're going to see in real time. Let's update the styling, actually. So it's going to be a flex. We're going to put a min height of the screen. Then we'll do flex columns. Background, it's going to be hashtag 0f0f0f. Text color of white. All right, I think that should be good enough for now. So let's get the other div going. Class name, it's going to be flex1 with padding of 6. Then we need a few more divs. So the third one is going to be another one. So this will be flex column, medium, flex row, justify between items center. Put a gap of 4. All right, and let's open this up. So after that, we're going to need one more div. So class name, it's going to be flex again, flex column. Then we'll need margin left of 2 and margin bottom of 4. Whoops. All right, so now let's get the span going. So class name, it's going to be text large, medium, it'll be text XL, large, it'll be text large. All right, so this gonna just say hi, and we'll do my dev page. Save that, we should see it on page. Perfect. We'll also do the second span. This will have some other different classes here. So text small, medium, text medium, large, text XL, and we'll do font bold. Cool, so this will just say something like good morning for now, but we can always make it dynamic. All right, yep, that's fine. Good enough. So just need to figure out where the second, I think it's going to go here. So let's create the second div here. This will have the search bar, and then we need to pass in the set location. So let's do that here. All right, yep. And I do need to add a little bit of styling here. So let's do flex items center. Then we'll do a gap of 4 and margin bottom of 4. Cool, that looks good to me. All right, so now let's get the other part. This is going to be the error state. So error, meaning if there is an error, then show this component. So it's just going to be a div, which is going to say error. And let's just close that out. Cool, so I'm actually going to add some styling here as well. So class name, it's going to be a background red. So I'll do something like 500 with opacity of 10. Border of red, 500. Text red as well. Whoops. Text red. Some padding. And lastly, just make it rounded. All right, so that's the error state. Now we're going to build out the actual weather card. So let's do the other div. And if there is weather, so weather and, then let's show the weather card. Cool, let's close that out. Then pass the props. So it's going to have the weather. The other one is going to be the unit. So the temperature unit. Then we'll need the on toggle unit. So set temperature unit. Save that. Oh, perfect. Now we have the weather showing here, and it looks pretty good. All right, so I did forget I need to put some styling here. So let's go and do that. it'll be flex column. Medium, it'll just be a flex row. Then we'll just do a gap of 4. But all right, for now, yep, we have the day, the date, the temperature. So everything looks to be good. There's no errors, so that's great news. Cool, now let's create the other component, which is going to be the forecast. So for that, let's create a new component. We'll call that, we'll call that weather app.js. This will be a use client, so let's go ahead and do that. And I'll need some imports here. So React, we'll import FA wind. We'll also need moment. Why can I not find it? From moment time zone. We'll also need the other helper methods that we created. So convert temperature as well as format temperature. Cool, so now we'll need 2 other smaller components. So let's get started with the loading state here. Loading state. It's just gonna be a helpful component for us. So let's do a little bit of styling. We're gonna have some divs here. Let's go with the first one. It's gonna be class name. We're gonna do animate pulse. Height is gonna be 8. Background gray 700. We're gonna make it rounded. Width of 1/4. Margin bottom of 4. And yeah, that should be enough. The second div we're gonna make is gonna have some different classes here. So grid column 2, medium grid call 5, and a gap of 4. All right, so now in here we're gonna simulate like a loading state where there's five different days. That's gonna be like kind of look like it's loading. So we're gonna do a array of 5. So basically this is gonna create 5 arrays and just like spread it out into this array. So just think of 5 empty arrays here. Then we'll map it out. We don't need the first argument. All we need is like the index number. Let's open that up. Cool, here we're just gonna need the div, and let's just close it. All right, so we're gonna need some styling here. First, let's just pass in the key to make it unique. Then we'll pass in the class name, which is gonna be a background, gray of 700, rounded of large, padding of about 4, then height of about 32. Cool, so that's pretty much it for the loading state. Go ahead and collapse that. Next, we'll create the forecast card. So this will take in 2 props, data in the unit. All right, so const date is equal to moment. The day dot, whoops. I spelled this wrong. Day, so this will be day dot dt times 1000. Then we'll get the temperature here. So const temp is equal to converted temperature. Pass in day.main.temp, and then the unit. So the next one is the min temperature. It's going to be same thing, convert temperature, day.main.temp underscore min, passing in the unit. So I'm just going to copy for the other one as well. This will be the max temperature. So instead of temp min, we'll just do temp max. All right, so now let's get the weather icon, which is going to be day.weather at position 0 dot icon. Lastly, we just need the description. So same thing here, day.weather at 0 question mark description. Cool, now let's build out the actual return of this. So we're going to return starting with the div, the main div. Then in this, let's make the class here. So background, it's going to be of 1E, 1E, 1E. We're going to make it rounded of large, padding of 4, flex column, and item center. So div class name, text small, text gray 300. Let's close that up. We'll do date dot format by triple D. All right, so that's one of them. Next up, we're gonna have, actually, I'm just gonna copy this. It's very similar. So it's gonna be text, actually extra small, and make the color to 400 gray. Change the formatting as well to month, 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 and the day. All right, so now below this, we're gonna put the image. So that's the icon. Source is gonna equal to, same thing we did earlier, https://openweathermap.org/img.wn. Then we need the weather icon. And for this, we won't do ×2. We'll pass the alt, which is the description. Then a little bit of styling. So we'll do width of 12, so a little bit smaller here. Height 12, and then margin of 2. And yeah, let's close it up. Cool. This little warning is just because Nextjs, they want you to use the img, not the img, the next image. So you can ignore this. All right, so now let's get the other divs going. So class name, text small, font semi-bold. This will be the formatted temperature, temp, and then unit. Cool. I'm just going to copy this for the second one. So it's going to be something similar. This will just be slightly different. So we'll do text of gray 300. And I think we can keep this the same, except we need to change the min temp. Then we'll have like a slash here to show the min and then the max. So format temperature, so max temp, and then the unit. All right, so we're almost there. Now we just need the description. Div class name. This is going to be text small, text gray of 400. Capitalize it, and then margin top of 1 for a little bit of spacing, which now we can pass in description. Finally, we'll put the wind speed. So let's get the div going for this as well. Flex name, it will be class name, it will be flex. Items center, gap of 1. Text small, text gray 300. Then a little bit of margin top. Cool. So now we're going to pass the wind icon here with some styling, just text small, and it will be a self-closing tag. So that's that. Lastly, just a span of the wind speed. So we'll do day.wind.speed, and we'll just do in meters per second. All right, I think that's good enough here for the forecast card. So now finally we get to the main part, which is the weather app. So const weather app. Let's open this up. Pass in the forecast, the loading, and then the unit. All right, so now this is going to have if check. So if it's still loading, then we're going to use our handy loading state component we created up top. And then if there is no forecast, then we're just going to return null. All right, those are two edge cases. If not, then we can return the forecast card. So let's do the wrappers first. So flex 1 background of hashtag 1E, 1E, 1E. Then we'll do a rounded extra large padding 6. We'll put a H2 here. So class name, text extra large, font semi-bold, margin bottom of 4, and give it a heading of a 5-day forecast. Cool. Below this, then we'll need one more div, and we can render the forecast cards. So for this one, a little bit of styling, not children, class name. It's going to be a grid call of 2, medium grid call 5, gap 4. All right, so now comes the fun part where we can actually map through the forecast. So forecast dot map, and let's open that up. So we get the day as well as the index number. And then let's open it up. So here is the forecast card. You're going to pass in the key as the day.dt. Then the day is just a day. And finally the unit. Whoops, the unit. Okay, so that is pretty much it. Last thing we need to do is just export it. So let's just export default weather app. So now this file is complete. So now just take a look and see if it's working. We're gonna put it here, but this won't be the final styling. So for now, let's just create the div, and then let's bring in the weather app, which is gonna take the forecast, the loading. So this will be loading for forecast, as well as the unit, which is just the temperature unit. Let's close that up. Looks like forecast is not defined here. So let's just bring it in. All right, we made a slight typo in the weather app. Not that, this one. So loading state, I made a slight typo. Where is it? Oh, right here. Cool, now we have the 5-day forecast showing here. For some reason, the icons are not looking like icons. So let's see what happened here. Maybe I had a typo. All right, so it looks like I think I had a typo here. And it's not WM, it's WN. Perfect, so now we actually have the icons. And yeah, it looks pretty good. 5-day forecast for the next 5 days in New York. Cool. Let's just toggle this, see if everything updates. And yeah, we have the Celsius here. So far looking great. Next, I'm going to work on the highlights component. So let's just go ahead in components, create a new file, call that highlights. And we're going to import a bunch of things. So I'm just going to copy and paste it just to save a little bit of time. So I'm just getting React and then a bunch of icons. For there, we're going to create the highlight card, which is going to take a couple of things. So the icon, it's going to be icon. Then we have the title, the value, and the unit, which by default will be 0. Not 0, it'll be empty. All right, so div, class name, background of same thing, 1E, 1E, 1E. Then we'll do a rounded dash large, padding of 4. Then we'll do another div, class name, flex, item center, gap of 2, text gray, 400, margin bottom of 2. Cool, let's open that up and let's put the icon with a class name of text large. After icon, we just need the span. So let's make it text small. This will just be the title. What is wrong with this here? Icon is not defined. Okay, so this was a typo here. Icon. Okay, so that's fine. Next up, we're going to need another div here, class name, text large, font semi-bold. And then we'll just need to pass in the value here. Then we'll pass in the unit. And if that's available, then we'll get the span class name. It's going to be text small, text gray 400, margin left of 1. And then we'll just pass in the unit. Cool, so that's the highlight card. Next, we need the actual main highlight component. Const highlights is going to take in the highlights. So first, if there is no highlights, then we can just return null. And then we'll need to do a little bit of destructure. So const from humidity, not humidity, highlights. We're going to get wind, humidity, visibility, sunrise, sunrise, sunset, and then lastly UV. Cool, so now let's actually build out the return. Just going to collapse this. In the return, we'll need to start off with our div, class name, flex1, background of, same thing, 1E, 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 1E. All right, so then we'll make it rounded extra large, padding of 6. So after that, we'll need the heading. So we'll put H2, text small, font semi-bold, and a little bit of margin bottom. This will just say something like today's highlights. I believe this needs to be escaped or something. Let's see what that error is. Let's just do and apostrophe. I think that's how it's done. Okay. So let's create the other div here. This will be the grid, and then the grid columns of 2 gap 4. And then we're going to pass in the highlight cards with these props. So for that, I'm just going to copy and paste it to save a little bit of time. But you guys can take a look and follow. Okay, so I recommend just pausing it and making sure you have these. So pretty much we're just going to call the highlight card component and render it with the icon, the title, the value, and then the units. All right, so I'm going to save that. And next thing we need to work on is the other country's weather. All right, so I'm going to save it and let's see what it looks like here on the page. So let's go back to page, and then I want to put it under, perhaps here, under weather. So let's just try that, see what it looks like. If HIGH highlights, if highlights exist, which we need to actually pull in highlights, then we'll showcase it. All right, so one thing we forgot to do was actually export it. So let's just do that. Okay, now back to page. This should be importable. Okay, it doesn't find it, so let's do import highlights. Voila, we have it on the right side here, today's highlights. Looks nice and clean. We have the wind speed, humidity, UV, visibility, sunrise, and sunset. Perfect, yeah, and now it's like side by side, so the UI looks slightly cleaner, which is great. We can fix that part, but yeah, for now, that's fine. All right, now let's work on the other country's weather component. So let's create the new component, or I should say the new file, other countries weather.js. Cool, for this, I'm gonna just copy some code just to save a little bit more time. But basically it's same thing as we did in the previous components. We're gonna make it a client component. We're gonna import React, use state, get some icons, and also our helper functions. Then we're gonna create the loading state comparable to the weather app right here. So it's very similar. For the weather app, we had 5, but for the highlights, the other countries, we're just going to have 2 for now. Cool. And then after that, I'm going to add another component. So this is going to be the city weather card. So this is going to take in the city, the unit, and then on remove. All right. So we're going to have the temperature, weather icon description, very much similar to the 5-year forecast here, but basically it'll be for different cities. And yeah, we have some things here. So we'll see it in the UI in a little bit. The next one will be the add city modal. So this is going to be on click. We're going to show a modal where the user can type in the next city and add it to the list. And you guys can pause it to type this out. But I will also have the files in GitHub. But let me just bring it down here so you guys can actually see it right here. So some of the styling right here. And then on the city weather card, I'm going to do the same thing. Just bring this down a little bit. Right here. Cool. So the city weather card, and then this is the modal to add a new city. And then we have the loading state. So with these, let me just collapse them. We can actually create the main component. So that one I'll just code out for us. So other countries' weather, here we'll get cities weather, then we'll get the loading, we'll also get the unit, and then on add city, and then on remove city. So this will pretty much use these components right here and pass in the props to them. Cool. Let's open up the function. All right, so now we're gonna have some local states for the modal. So let's do is modal open, and then set is modal open. Initially, this will be false. All right, and then we'll do add. Next thing is adding city. So is adding city, and then set adding city. This will pretty much show the loading state or not. So use state, and for initially it's false as well. Cool, and then we're going to need one handle function. So this is going to be the handle add city. So this will be a async function. We're going to pass in the city name. And then here we're going to do set is adding is, where is it? Oh, I forgot is here. That's why it wasn't showing up. Set is adding. Set is, okay, so we're going to set the loading state to true, not, I can't type right now, true. Next up, we're going to do the try and catch, or not the catch, we just need to try and finally. So await on add city. We're going to pass in the city name. And then finally, we're going to do something, which is to set the loading to false. All right, so that's the handle add city. Before we get to building out the UI, we just want to add the loading state to actually show the loading component. So loading return, loading state. Perfect. So finally, we will get the return and build out the UI for this. Cool. So for this one, let's get started with the div. And let's put the class. This is going to be flex1, background color of hashtag. It's actually not hashtag, it's pound, but hashtag that color. And then we'll do rounded to be extra large, padding 6. Let's close that out. We'll need one more div here. For this one, we're going to add some different styling. So just flex, justify between, items, center, margin bottom 4. Cool, now we'll get the H2 going. This is gonna also have some different styling. Text extra large, font semi-bold. I saw it down here. Cool, and this will just be something like other locations. Or it could be other cities. All right, after that, we're gonna have a button. So we can actually add a new city. So this one, I believe we're gonna have an icon here, so I will open that up. But before that, let's add the on click, not on can play. On click, we're gonna add a function, which is, we're gonna open up the modal. So set is modal open to be true. Cool, and then let's add some styling real quick. So padding 2, rounded, dash large. Background color, it's gonna be pound. I believe it's 363636. Cool. text gray 300, and then add some hover. So this is just going to change the text to white. Next up, the other hover is, it's going to be hover, and we're going to change the background color to be this pound 404040. Then we will just put a little bit of transition colors. Yeah. Cool. So now we have the styling. Now, just to finally wrap it up, we'll do ARIA label. It's a good practice to have ARIA labels. So I just want to set that up here. So this will be add new city. Cool. And then in the button, we just want to put the icon. So something like the plus icon. All right. So now that we have that, we need to add a few more things. Let me just see if we're in the right div. Yes, this looks good. And then we'll add another div here. This is where we're going to map through all the cities' weathers. Cities weather map. And then for every city, we're going to do something, which is we're going to show the city card. All right, so this is going to take in some props. So first one is the key. This will be the city.id. Then we'll pass in the city itself, as well as the unit, and then the on remove, which is going to be on remove city. Perfect. So now let's add some styling here. So class name, this is going to be grid call 1. And then for medium and above, we'll do grid calls 2 with a gap of about 4. All right, so lastly, we want to add the modal here so that can actually show up. So add city modal. Perfect. And this is going to take some props as well. So is open is one of them. This will be is modal open. On close, we're going to have a callback function here. So set is modal open to be false. Whoops. All right, and then on add, we can do handle add city. For is loading, we're going to do is adding city. Cool, I think that is it. And lastly, we just need to export default. I'm calling countries here, so let me do, technically it's other cities, but that's okay. Cool, now that we have that, let's put in the UI in the main page. So we're going to go there. We're going to actually work on updating some styling as well. So first up, let me check our state here. One thing that we might be needing here now is, let me just check. We have location, forecast, temperature unit, set temperature unit, loading. One thing I don't see right now is cities weather. So let's bring that, as well as the set cities weather. Okay, definitely we'll be needing that for this one. Cool, now looking at UI, we're going to be putting it around on top of weather app. So let's just bring that up here. So it's going to be other countries weather, close that up. This is going to take a bunch of props. So first one being cities weather, just going to be cities weather. Loading will just be loading.cities. And then for unit, we're going to pass in the temperature unit. On add city, we're going to have handle add city. I don't know if we created that function yet, but we will create it. On remove city, it will just be handle remove move city. All right, so let me just check if we have handle. I don't think we have created both of these yet, so let's create them now. First up, let's create the handle add city. So this was going to be a async function, taking in the city name. Okay, so then here we're going to do a try and a catch. We're going to make a request, so get the response in this one. So we're going to make a fetch call, and I'm just going to copy and paste the URL for now. But let me just break it out here so it's cleaner for you guys. Cool, so that's the URL. We're just hitting open weather map, passing in the city name in the Q query, and everything else is the same. Let's just add the catch so then the linter stops yelling at us. So we're just going to throw new error dot message. Okay, so now after we have the response, we're going to do a few things. First thing is we need to check if the response is okay. So if it's not, then we're going to throw new error. So something like city not found. So then after that, we'll do the new city weather data. So this is just going to be response.json. From there, and then we're going to check if it already exists. So let's do something like city. We'll check it by the city.id. Compare that to the new city weather.id. All right, so now if it already exists, we're just going to throw new error again. Something like city is already in the list. Cool, and lastly, if it all goes well, then we'll just set the city's weather. Getting the previous, we'll spread the previous weather, and we'll just add the new city weather data. All right, so we have handle city. Now we need to move and make the other function. So handle remove city. So this is going to take in the city ID. And this one's pretty simple. So we're just going to open up set city's weather. From here, we'll get the previous. We'll do a dot filter on it. So for the city, we're going to look for city.id, and we're going to filter out all of them. That is not the city ID. All right, so nice. I saved it and now it's rendering. So this is the other cities right here. And you can see we can remove it or we can add a new one. So let's try it out. Let's add a new one and we can see the modal showing up. So let's do something like give me a city name. Maybe I think we already have London. Let's try Tokyo. So we'll do Tokyo, see if that works. Got error. I think we already had Tokyo. Okay, I don't know what the error was, but let's try something else. Let's do Ontario. So I don't know if I can do something like this. No. Let's do Italy. So we get an error here. Let's just see what the error might be. For that, I'm just gonna refresh. We have Tokyo, London. So let's just do something like, I don't know, California. See what the issue might be. So looks like we have a bunch of things before we get the query. So I think it's just the formatting here. Let me just bring it together. And let's try it one more time. So same thing, California. Maybe I spelled it wrong. What's the issue here? City not found. So I think I did spell it wrong. Let's try an easier city name. Let's go with, I'm blanking on city names. Let's do Sydney. Oh man, I can't remember city names. Let's do New Jersey. Okay, so yeah, that worked. New Jersey. So this is pretty close to New York. So the temperature is pretty similar. All right, cool. So yeah, this is working as well. Other cities. I think we have not updated styling, so let's work on that now. So first up, we'll just add some spacing. We'll turn it to a flex, as well as a flex column. And for medium or above, we'll do flex row. Then we'll set a gap of 4 just to give a little bit of spacing. Right now we have the little spacing right here between these, so that looks good. And now let me see what else we need to do. We have some styling there. We have styling there. Yeah, I think technically this looks pretty good. I mean, this one is a little bit funky, but you know, it still works. Okay, so now in temperature toggle, I think I forgot to do something here where I did not add a styling on this yet. So let's put some styling here. This is gonna look like some padding on the horizontal and the y-axis. Then we'll make it rounded. We'll do a transition dash all, duration of 200. So it's a nice animation. And then we'll put a conditional here. So current unit. So if it is the current unit, then we want to show that by doing background is equal to pound 1e 1e 1e, and then we'll do text white shadow of medium. If it's not that, then we'll just do text gray 400, hover text gray 300, hover background of pound 2a 2a 2a. All right, so let's see what that looks like now. Perfect. So now we have the Fahrenheit and Celsius looking slightly better. So on hover, we can see this looking slightly different. If we click it, we get a very nice little animation. And main thing, you can clearly see it's either Fahrenheit or Celsius. Cool, yeah. Besides that, we haven't tested our remove, so let me try to remove one. And yeah, that did remove it, so that's great. We could move this slightly in a better place, but you know, it works, so that's fine. All right, so just to check out the loading state a little bit, I'm gonna do a little bit of throttle here. So let's go to network and we're gonna do slow 4G, right? And let me just close that. So if I refresh it, it's gonna actually take, oh no, it's not after I refresh it. I gotta bring this back actually. So with this showing, I'm gonna refresh it. So now we'll actually see the loading state. So that's great. Okay, so I did realize we have this little bug here with the 5. And I think it was here in the weather card. So if you look at the date display, I put 5 Ds over here, but it should have just been 4. So if I save that, now it's just Friday without the random 5 there. So cool, that looks good. But yeah, guys, we have a fully functioning weather app now, and I'm pretty sure it's pretty responsive now as well. So let's just check out the iPhone 14. So now we can see that it's pretty responsive. You know, it looks decent. If you looked at it in mobile, it's usable. One thing I would change is probably the styling here. So it's all on the left, but I'll just probably make it to the right. Okay, so I think this is happening because we need to justify between. Okay, I think that looks better. And then for this one, we can also do text right. So let's see, where could that be? That might be in the weather details here, actually. So let's check it out. So let's try text right. Hope that didn't work. So let's see which one this is. All right, so to make these go more to the right, I think it's over here. So let's check out the humidity and let's do justify end. Okay, yep, so that went to the right. And the other one is visibility. So we'll do the same thing here. Justify end. And all right, yep, it's on the right side, so right aligned, looks good. And yeah, on the desktop version as well, it looks pretty decent. It's aligned here. But yeah, guys, this is the final app. You guys can go ahead and work on it some more. You can make things more dynamic, like the name here, and either good morning. So if it's past maybe sunset, it's like good night. You know, who knows? You can have a lot of fun with this. This is a great starting point. You could probably update this one too. So I think, yeah, that could be an area improvement. Some of the fonts here, they could be slightly bigger, but there is a lot of information that we just want to pack. So it's fine. It looks good. But yeah, it's a very functional app. The API does have some sort of a limit, I believe. So if you check out the API, I think it tells you there's about 300 limit a day. So let me see where I can find that. Right here. So it says 1,000 API calls per day for free. So, if you are building the app and you run to API block here, you can just create a new API key and that should still work. But otherwise, yeah, this is a great API that you guys can build your project, deploy it, share it, put in your resume, and you can have a lot of fun with this. So real quick, I'm going to shout out my dev page. So this is the website where you guys can go and create your portfolio website in literally 1 minute. So just sign up using Google or just any email, and you guys can get your portfolio website up very fast. And just to highlight, I've made a lot of improvements. So now there's a new resume builder. So you can build and download your resume right here, and you can manage it on the website. And yeah, you have other cool features like real-time analytics, some sort of a contact form so people can actually reach out without you sharing your emails, so you can get all that within your account as well as in your email. And yeah, a lot of other cool features. So check it out. I'm building out this website. A lot of cool stuff happening. And if you guys enjoyed this tutorial, let me know in the comments what other tutorials you'd like to see. If I should speed up, if I should slow down in areas, let me know. I'm building these web videos just for you guys. So your comments will help make better videos in the future. With that, thank you and hope you guys enjoyed building this weather app with me.